Hey friends, it's Tracy. Welcome to today's video. It is all about the red, white, and blue and sharing my style of primitive country rustic patriotic wreaths. Guys, my name is Tracy. I love to share crafty ideas with a bit of rustic country charm, just like today's projects. I hope that you'll consider sticking around and subscribing if you are not currently, and maybe follow me on my other social media platforms. All right, guys, let me share how I created these primitive country rustic patriotic wreaths. First up is this proud to be an American burlap and mesh wreath. Okay, I'm going to use a 14-inch wire frame. This one is from the Dollar Tree. And then this is going to be the sign for the center of my wreath, and that came from the Dollar Tree as well. Now, I'm going to be putting the 10-inch burlap mesh that I get from Hobby Lobby, and I'll put 20 bundles of the 3 10-inch mesh. And then I'm going to have 20 bundles, and then I'm going to have 4 sets of ribbon. I'm going to have this one that's going to be together. This is from Hobby Lobby, these two. This one's from Walmart. This I got, I think, from Craft Outlet. This is from Hobby Lobby, and then this one is from Hobby Lobby as well. This is from Craft Outlet as well as this one. This one is, I think it's from the Dollar Tree. Yeah, I think that one's from the Dollar Tree. And then this one is from Craft Outlet. This one is from Amazon, and then this one is from Hobby Lobby. And so I'm going to cut 5 sets of each of these bundles, and then that will give me the 20 sets of ribbon to put into this wreath. And this is how all of my ribbon bundles look. And I also pulled out some raffia and just made some bows that I'm going to be putting into one of these bundles just to give it a more country look. And I think that that's going to tie in really good with my rustic sign. So on this rustic wreath, what I did is I attached 4 bundles of just the 2 with the burlap and the stove ball mesh. I just attached 2 of those. I did 4. And then I have this that I've decided to add. I'm going to cut a 14-inch strip of this, and I'm going to put that on the ring, every 4th one, just to give it just a little color to match that rustic sign. So here is how this base looks. I have 20 of the 2 10-inch burlaps, and then I have 6 of the red and silver and blue. And so what I'm going to do is just zigzag and put the 20 bundles of the 4 ribbons together in just around this wreath. And I'm not going to put it in every tie because that would be too much ribbon. So I'm just going to zigzag it until it looks the way that I like. This is how my wreath looks with the 20 bundles of ribbon in it. This sign, it has, you know, it's not attached all the way, and it has this space. And so in order for it to put, you know, in the center of my wreath, what I'm going to do is use one of these hearts from Valentine's Day that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to Mod Podge this paper on here, and then I'm going to glue this on there so that, you know, I have something to attach to my wreath, and that, you know, so that it's more stable. All right, I'm going to give you just a little behind the scenes. As some of you that have been following me for a while, or if you're new, I like to add dimension to my projects. And so what I mean, I like to lift them up a little. I think it just adds depth and dimension. And one of my favorite ways to add dimension is these tumbling tower blocks that I get from the Dollar Tree. Also, I have been starting to use this thick fun foam that now, I think I got this at Hobby Lobby a few years ago. I need to look next trip to see if they still have it, but I could always double it up. Anyway, so on this sign, that's what I did. I went ahead and Mod Podged the paper on there, and then I just lifted it up by cutting strips of this fun foam. And you can kind of see that here. I can kind of cut it to the size that I need versus having to get out the little saw and cut those down. So anyway, just wanted to pass that tip along. And then to get it to dry, What I did is, the reason I have all those clips on there is because I let it dry with some E6000 and some hot glue and clipped those on just to make sure that everything was nice and secure. And I used my cable ties and some pipe cleaners to attach to the back of the heart. Then I'll thread it through, and that is how I attach my signs to my wreaths. I wanted to pass this tip along. I got this from another wreath maker. They suggested these large loop yarn needles from Hobby Lobby, or any fabric store would have them. Anyway, you could I just hook the pipe cleaner on there, and then that just kind of helps thread it through to the back of the wreath, and then I attach it to the frame. Embellishments, I'm going to add some of these berries that I picked up from Walmart a few seasons ago, and then some of these like little bowl fillers and scatters that I got from Hobby Lobby. Now, got those a few years ago and had them on hand. And then I'm just going to attach them with a dowel stick to attach them and stick them into my wreath. And I add a hanger to each of my wreaths with this Grapevine wire. I just get it from Hobby Lobby or any craft store that sells it like this. Is Grapevine wire. You can also find it on Amazon. And then I just attach that, in the middle so it hangs nicely. And then to cover the back so that everything looks complete, what I do is I like to put placemats on the back of my wreaths. And I usually like to get a bunch of these at Hobby Lobby during the fall season when they had them on sale. And then I just take some extra pipe cleaners, and then I just attach it to the frame all the way around. And then if I don't have these, I'll use the placemats from Dollar Tree or anywhere I can find nice placemats to cover the back.
Guys, do you know that I have a Wreath Basics playlist, that I have all of my Wreath Basics tutorial of how I cut my 10-inch mesh, how I make my cruffles, how I work with 21-inch mesh, how I add my embellishments. And so you can easily find that underneath any video description. There should be underneath the helpful links, there is a Wreath Basics playlist. You can click on that, or go to my main page and you can click under the popular videos, the Wreath Basics playlist, and it will open up and share any of the Wreath Basics tutorials that I have available right now on my channel. Next wreath is this Primitive Country Burlap Deco Mesh Wreath.
For this next wreath project, I'm using a 14-inch wire frame, and now this one came from the Dollar Tree. I'm also using these 3 10-inch mesh that I get from, they're all from Hobby Lobby. I'm also going to be using some tan pipe cleaners. Now I'm going to cut my mesh at 12 inches. I put them all 3 together, tie them onto this wreath. There is a of how I do this in my Wreath Basics tutorial underneath this video, under my helpful links. If you would like to see exactly how I cut my mesh, put my bundles together, and tie them on to my wreath form. All right, this is how my mesh looks on this wreath. This is like probably my favorite base wreath right now. I have 20 bundles of mesh on here. And since I have 3 sets of ribbon that I want to put on, I'm going to cut 6 sets, and then I'll need to cut an extra one of 2, to make 20. And then I will put my ribbon into the ties, into the pipe cleaners, just to make a very full wreath. And then I will put on my sign. All right, these are the ribbons I'm going to use in this wreath. And then this is the sign. I picked this up at Dollar General either last year or the year before. But I'm just pulling out the colors of ribbon from this, sign that I did. It was a yardstake, and I just took them off of the yardstake. I'm just going to be using these and get rid of the yardstake or use it for a different project. These are one set of ribbon. This came from Joann's. This came from Craft Outlet, and this came from Hobby Lobby. Guys, I get my ribbon from everywhere. Craft Outlet, and Hobby Lobby. Walmart, Craft Outlet, and Hobby Lobby. So, I usually find my ribbons at, anywhere I can find cute ribbon, craft store, online, or at Walmart. All right, I cut this ribbon at 13 inches. I just used my Perfect Tails board. This is from Burlap Boutique, and this is my little tiny attacher. It just puts a teeny tiny little staple in there, and then I can gather it together. I got this from the craft store, or if you can't find it in the craft store, you can check out my Amazon shop because it is listed in there. Okay, for this next set of ribbon, I just put this one and this mini polka dot together. I just crisscrossed them. I cut these at 13 inches. Now for this one, what I did is I measured out 36 inches. I made a 4-inch loop on each side. I just stapled it in the middle because I wanted a longer tail. So this is about an 8-inch tail. And then when I put those in my tie, I'm going to put that together like that so that my tail stick out a little bit farther and I can see all of these stars. And then for the third set, what I did is I just crisscrossed those two and then put this one that I got from Hobby Lobby in the middle. I cut them at 13 inches and then I just used my tiny attacher just to staple them all together. So then now I have all of my bundles ready to go. So all I have to do is open the pipe cleaner and then just alternate them in a zigzag pattern. For this ribbon set, I decided to put some raffia in. This wreath, I like to get this raffia from Walmart. And I just tied several strands of it together, just, in some loops just to make the bow. And, then that is what I'm going to include into this wreath. And this is how my wreath looks with all of the 3 sets of ribbon, the raffia, and all of the other little bows. And then now I'm going to put on my sign. So for this little sign, like I said, it was on a stake that I took it off of the stake. I'm just going to use the sign. And again, it came from Dollar General. I got that a couple of years ago. Anyway, what I did is I added some black doodles and some white highlights. And then I'm going to attach it to my wreath with the cable ties I like to use. And it just threaded on, through the mesh with some pipe cleaners. All right, I've decided to add some pip berries that have these little stars on them. Someone had given me a bunch of these. I'm not quite sure where they got them from, but they asked me if I wanted them, and so of course I did. And so also what I did is I added some Excelsior to just different parts around the wreath, and then I'm going to stick in some pip berries, just to tie in all the primitive country-ness of this wreath. All right, so I put a hanger on my wreaths with this wire. It's grapevine wire that I pick up from Hobby Lobby or any floral section. And then to cover the backs of my wreaths, I like to use placemats. I like these that I get from the fall season from Hobby Lobby, and I just attach them to the frame with the extra pipe cleaners so that it just makes the wreath look nice.
I also like to make grapevine wreaths, and this one is sharing a red, white, and blue patriotic grapevine wreath.
All right, I'm going to add some greenery to this grapevine wreath, and I have some of this large fern. I'm not going to use all of it. I'm just going to be cutting off pieces of it. And then I have this ficus. I think both of these are from Walmart, but you know, you can get these at any place that sells greenery usually, but these are what I have that I'm going to cut off stems of those and stick them in. I'm going to be using my glue pot. It's just a skillet that I have that I've had for a long time, and I just cut up Gorilla Glue sticks and let that melt to a honey consistency, and then that is what I stick the stems into and then glue them into my wreath. So I'm going to make like a crescent or like this part of the wreath. I like to do that with the grapevine wreath, especially when I'm doing something patriotic. And so I just added this first layer of greenery on here, and then I'm going to leave this part. I'm going to add some ficus on there, and then like right here is where I'm going to put my bow. So I picked up this beautiful bouquet of flowers from Hobby Lobby that has, you know, lots of reds, whites, and blues. It has roses and lilies and, you know, just different greenery and berries and stuff in it. And so I'm going to cut a few pieces of this apart. I'm not going to use the whole thing because it'll be too much, but I'm going to cut pieces apart and stick it into the wreath. Alright guys, to make my bow, I'm using my Easy Bow Maker that I got from Deco Exchange. Again, the link is in my link tree if you would like to, you know, find out a little bit more about the Easy Bow Maker. And so I'm using this metallic 2.5-inch ribbon to start my bow. So what I did is I made 2 5-inch loops, probably about, I don't know, a 10-inch tail. I just dovetailed that. And then for the second layer, I just made 2 more 5-inch loops, and then I just have my tails going this way and then that way. And I like that. It gives a little bit of character to the bow. So then I have my 4 loops, 5-inch loops on the base. And then what I'll do is I will add more ribbon to the bow to make a very whimsical and full bow for this next layer. I'm using this 2.5-inch plaid ribbon. I think I got this from Amazon a few years ago. And what I did is I just made 2 loops, and for my tails, I just put one tail going this way and the other one going this way. And then I just took my scissors and dovetailed the ends. You can do it at the end of the bow, but I just find it easier. I stay on track if I do it along the way. Next layer, I am using this burlap with the gingham on the edges. This is the navy blue. This is from Hobby Lobby. And I just made loops and just did one way and then did the other loop the other way, so I would have the tails. And I just think that the tails just give it added character to the bow. For my next layer, I'm using this 1.5-inch. I bought 2 rolls. I bought the 1.5 and I bought the 2.5-inch. Again, I'm not quite sure. I can't remember where I got that from. Anyway, so I just made 4 loops and the tails, I just have one going this way and one going this way. For my last layer, I'm using this 1.5-inch white with the red gingham on the edges. Now this came from Walmart during the Christmas season, and so it's perfect for, you know, other holidays, not just for Christmas. Anyway, so what I did is I just made 6 loops, 3 on each side, and then I have this tail going this way, this tail going this way. And so now I think I'm finished. I will go ahead and attach my pipe cleaner. I will thread it through. You know, I'm going to put my bow around that area and fluff it out. And then I will add some flowers and just greenery in between the bow just to tie everything together. And then I just threaded the pipe cleaner through the grapevine. I don't go around it. I thread it through. And one thing that I got to help me is one of these yarn needles. I got it from Hobby Lobby in the yarn section. Anyway, and so that helped me hook the pipe cleaner on and pull it through the grapevine. I saw another wreath maker do that, and I was so appreciative, and so I'm just passing that little tip along. So then this is how, just by adding some of that greenery in the bow and just filling it all around with different flowers and the berries and greenery and all that stuff, just makes this grapevine wreath look really pretty. For a sign, I'm going to be using one of these metal signs from the Dollar Tree. I have red and I have blue. I think I'm going to do red. And so what I'm going to do is put some greenery here so that, you know, it kind of fills in around the truck. So when I added my greenery and my truck on there, it leaves the spot right here. So I'm going to make a very smaller bow and add it right there. And then hopefully this wreath will be finished.
And if you would like to see what other patriotic crafts I do have available on my channel, I do have a playlist as well as all of the different wreaths that I have done that I do have a video tutorial for. That is also in my helpful links as well as on my main channel. All right.
And I wanted to share that you don't need to use a lot of ribbons, a lot of embellishments to make a cute patriotic wreath. Now, the ribbons that I'm using in this project is the blue and the burlap came from Walmart, and the red and burlap stripe came from Hobby Lobby. I'm starting with a 14-inch wire form, and I get these at the Dollar Tree when they're available. And then I'm using a bubble technique. I just start with it's about a 5.5-inch burlap, and I just secure the ends of the burlap with a chenille stem, and then I start in the inner ring. I pull it through, then I go to the middle ring, then I go to the outer ring, then I squish it together, and then I start over in the inner ring, the middle ring, and then the outer ring. When I come to the end of my burlap wreath, I will secure the edges with a chenille stem directly to the wire. I cut my ribbons at 10 inches in length, and then I V-cut or dovetail the edges of the ribbons before I put them on the wreath. Now, I use the same sequence. I just use these two ribbons, this red and burlap stripe. I'm going to put that down, and I tried to do one way, and this blue with the burlap stars, I put that one a different way. So one was sideways and one was up and down. So it kind of looks like this. Really, the ribbon is just really what makes this wreath pop. I added some jute. I made some little bows, just real simple, just 3 loops on each side, and then I tied it in the middle and just added it to directly into those chenille stems. I decided that my wreath needed a bow. Now this ribbon is a little bit thicker, and so I'm going to show you here how I make a bow working with this type of ribbon. I cut the ribbons into sections, the little loops, and then I attach them with my little stapler. That works great for stuff like this. And then I can work with it a little bit better. I kind of squeeze that in the middle, just kind of like loosen up those fibers a little bit, and then I can attach it all together. Even though that they're separate, I can attach them together using one chenille stem. Needle nose pliers are a tool that I use often with making wreaths because I can pull those chenille stems really tight. When I get the look that I want, I will attach it to the wreath using the rest of that chenille stem and just repositioning it and just kind of forming it the way that I want. The USA letters are from the Chip Decor, and these are sold exclusively at Hobby Lobby. And I painted them up. I put 2 coats of paint on each letter. So for the red, I used Santa Red. For the blue, I used Navy Blue. And for this color, I used Buttermilk. I did some highlighting by shading the U and the S with some white paint. And for the A, I used some brown paint to shade around the A. Now I'm using an ultra fine Sharpie marker, and I like to do this just to give each letter a little more definition, little doodling to my projects. And I just attached them to the burlap wreath just with some glue, some hot glue, as well as some Aleene's tacky glue.
I started with a 12-inch wire wreath form, and this paper burlap mesh is from Walmart, and I just cut about 10 inches off, and then I rolled it up, and then I cut it in half to give me 2 pieces. And so then here you can see I have 6 of these cut like this, and then I'm going to cut all of them in half. And then this color of mesh, probably got it at Hobby Lobby or Craft Outlet or something, and I just cut probably 8 inches, and that is what I'm going to begin layering on
my wire form. So there's 6 sections, and so I'm going to put 2 gathers on each like section, and so I just have a burlap mesh, and I'm just securing them with chenille stems. I don't know if this is a ruffle or I just gather it. I don't even like, I just gather it together. This is just kind of what I do just to make wreaths. And I just am putting I'm putting a paper mesh and then putting that off-white color. And I have 2 of these per section, and then I begin layering from there. This mesh is most likely from craftoutlet.com, and I'm just cutting it off, I don't know, 8 or 10 inches. I just usually roll it out, and if I like the length, I just cut it off then. And so I'm just gathering these 2. I'm putting it in between the paper mesh and the other one. I'm not putting it on top of this one. I'm just finding a spot and just going in between there. And I have 6 bundles of these, the maroon and the navy, or it's kind of like a deep red and a navy. And that's the way it all looks, all cute together. I used these ribbons. Now, these red trucks with the American flag are from Michaels, and I just cut the length for 3 trucks. This star ribbon is from Michaels as well, and I cut that at 12 inches. This burlap with the blue chevron is from Walmart, and that is what I'm going to begin layering on my wreath. My cute little sign came from nowhere else but my favorite store, Hobby Lobby. I did take off the back. It kind of like has a little kickstand. I just removed that. And then I stapled it on my wreath. And so I like to do this first before I put my ribbon on so that I don't get my ribbon caught in between or underneath you know, I like to staple it where I can have some, you know, mesh, have some kind of like meat that where my staples won't go through the front. So I always make sure that I have, you know, something secure so that it won't go through the front of the sign. And then I begin layering my ribbon on, and I'm going to start with this 4-inch burlap chevron that came from Walmart, and I'm putting that layering that on with the deep red and the navy. Then I will add the blue stars with the truck, and that is going in the ties with the burlap and the off-white mesh. This pipberry garland is from Hobby Lobby. I just took the pipberries off of the garland, and it also has the little metal stars on it. And so then I just included the little pipberries on the section with the chevron ribbon. I added some gingham ribbon. This is that same gingham ribbon that I used for my faux patriotic books, and I just put a knot in it and just cut it off and just glued it on my wreath and included my little pipberries.
the home of the free because of the brave sign, and the stars that I used are all from the Dollar Tree. I'm just kind of showing you here. I wasn't sure which one I was going to use, but I ended up using the ones that had a little bit more festiveness to them. This is the greenery that I used. I decided to add some greenery to my wreath because I like the color and the texture that it gives to my wreaths, and I use my Pix machine. Now, you do not need to use this. I just have it, so I wanted to use it. It puts a steel pick on the end of my stem, and so then I can dip it into hot glue and then just stick it onto my wreath. Like you see that I have done here, I put one layer of the greenery, then I added some of the smaller greenery on top to give it a different look and texture. Then I'm going to add my sign. I am drilling some holes in it using my electric drill, and I have this wire. It's coated wire. Some of the wire I've gotten from the Dollar Tree. I've gotten some from Walmart. I also have some I had in my stash. To just take my wire and just thread it through I decided to add some pizzazz to my wreath by adding this Deco mesh, this burlap with the red and the blue intertwined through it. I picked that up at Walmart a couple of years ago. I just ruffled it up and just kind of attached it to the wreath. Then I took some 10-inch blue, some 10-inch red, and did the same thing. I lost the footage of that. I didn't take a picture of that. I apologize. But anyway, I just made about 5 little bundles of the red and blue and attached it to the wreath as well. My little ribbon bundles that I created for this wreath, I used ribbon from Walmart as well as Craft Outlet. This shimmery blue is from Walmart. It's cut at 12 inches, and then I dovetailed the ends of that. And to dovetail, I just fold my ribbon, or actually just gather it, the ends, make sure that they're together, and then I fold it in half. I take my scissors and I make up from one corner up, and it makes a V cut. And then this burlap ribbon is cut about 10 inches, and I did the same thing. I just dovetailed that. Now this gingham ribbon I got at Craft Outlet. I think it's a 50-yard roll. I like that I can get a large roll of that over at Craft Outlet. Anyway, I'm just making a 2-loop bow. Because this is double-sided, I can just make the loop whichever way that I want. The loops are about 3 inches. That's what I was showing you there. I just gather it in the middle, and then to save myself a bit of frustration, I just cut that off with my scissors. I'll go back and dovetail that after I get it together. And I just take my ribbon and just bunch it up and then just layer it and make my little ribbon bow. For my stars, I am just going to try to figure out where I want to put those. I put the blue at the bottom, the red at the top, and then that red and white one there on the side. And then to attach them, I'm going to take my electric drill and drill 2 holes in the star about 1/2 inch apart. And then I take some of that coated wire in the same colors, and then just thread it through the grapevine, and then I bring it through the front of the star, and then I use my little needle nose pliers to twist the wire. And I'm okay with the wire showing through the front because I think that it really adds to the decoration of whatever project that I'm creating.
I added was some daisies, and I just glued them onto the wreath, and I just love the way that it all kind of turned out together. I used to create this God Bless America mesh wreath with you. So patriotic, so festive. So these are the supplies I used. A 16-inch square frame. The 10-inch mesh that I used is all from Hobby Lobby. I used the blue, the red, and then the jute with the metallic strips. These are all found at Hobby Lobby. Now I cut the mesh at 10 inches, and I like to roll them all out at one time and take one cut. I have this mat here on my table, and then I used my rotary cutter, and I just make one cut, and we have all of those meshes together. Now to create each bundle, I did it almost the exact same way. I'm using a sparkly blue chenille stem, and you can get these at the craft store as well. I usually just cut those in half. Now I laid the 10-inch jute mesh flat out on my table, and then I gathered it in the center, kind of doing a ruffle technique. I'm doing the same thing with the blue, and I kind of turn those ends over, on itself. Then with the red, I'm just kind of doing a tube effect, just kind of letting the mesh fall the way that it goes in the roll, and then I just kind of, hold it all there together. Take my chenille stem and attach it, gathering it, pulling it to the back, and then twisting it as tight as I can. Now, on the jute and then the blue and the red, I kind of alternated the red and the blue. Like one bundle I would put the red on top, and then the next bundle I would put the blue on top. Super simple. Then I will tie each of these bundles to my square frame, just filling that entire frame up. These are the ribbons that I'm using. Now this one is from Hobby Lobby. It's very sparkly and has some stars. Just really, really cute. This burlap and white stripe I absolutely love. It's from Hobby Lobby as well. It is some of the specialty ribbons, so that's where you'll find that. This red window pane, that's what I call it. I don't know what the correct word is from a wholesale company, but I have seen it at Craft Outlet. So you can look over there for that. I love to put that window pane ribbon in my wreaths because I really think that it gives a different texture and just adds so much more character to my wreath. Isn't this sign so cute? I got it just like this with the little glitter and everything, just so adorable. I got this from a local dollar store. It's a Houston area dollar store called King Dollar, and I just absolutely love how it just dresses up my entire wreath. I added some little white paint on the edges of the God Bless America sign, just to kind of make it my own and just spice it up just a little bit.
Today I am sharing an American flag burlap wreath that can carry you all the way through the summer to show your American pride from Memorial Day all the way through Labor Day. So let me show you how I put it together. The wire frame is divided into sections. You see those little wires that separate it. And so I'm going to save two of those sections to put the blue with the burlap star. That's going to be my blue part of my flag. So working with one of the sections, I am going to put red and then burlap because that will be my stripes. I'm starting with the red burlap, and I have a red chenille stem that I'm going to weave through the end of that burlap and attach it to two rings of the wire frame. I'm starting on the inner ring, and I will make 2 rows of poofs in that section, and then I will make 2 rows of poofs with the burlap color, and then I will move to the next section and put 2 rows of red and 2 rows of burlap, and this will be my stripes. I choose to tie off each color separately when I get to the end before starting the next color, and I tie it directly to the wire frame. This is what it looks like when you have all the burlap on there, the red and the burlap color. I have 4 sections of each, and those last 2 sections I have saved for my blue with stars burlap. So I'm just going to unroll that and do it the same way by attaching it to the wire frame. Now this is a 10-inch roll, and so I will spread that out in between those 2 sections to make sure I get it as even and as full as possible. This burlap was woven very tightly, so I was unable to thread the chenille stem through the edge or the end of the burlap, so I am just going to attach it by bunching it up and securing it on the 2 inner rings, and then I will make my poofs with this burlap.
I will attach the end of the burlap with a chenille stem directly to the frame. And my American flag wreath is complete, and it will carry me all the way from Memorial Day through summer, including Labor Day. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check out my other wreath basics playlist as well as my other wreath tutorials. Thank you again for watching. God bless you, and we will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.